everybody, welcome to News by Muse. I'm your host, Mike Sandoval, and today we have special guest Kristina Denton, the writer of Hollywood Grit. Stay tuned. Hey everybody, welcome back. We are here with the writer, creator of Hollywood Grit, Kristina Denton. Hi, Kristina. How are you doing today?
Hello, I am good. I'm so happy to be here in this beautiful studio.
Well, we are happy to have you here as a guest on News by Muse. You're number 3, which is awesome. So it's really nice. Well, technically 4, but we call the first one kind of like
Don't count it. Yeah.
well, it's like everything. It's a what do they call it in the business?
run.
What do they call it in the business? Test subject run. Yeah.
Trial run.
Trial run.
Yeah.
Pilot.
There we go.
There we go. It's a pilot.
Pilot.
But Hollywood Grit.
Yeah.
Great cast.
Yes.
Which I was just kind of Tyrese, friggin' Benito, who's a good friend of ours and a good friend of the show. Hey, Benito.
Max Martini.
Exactly.
Pearl, Patrick Duffy. It just goes on and on. Yeah.
When you wrote this movie, at first, did you ever think you'd be able to get this amazing cast?
Of course not. Absolutely not. No. I mean, I've written so many things on, I guess you can call it the independent level, big and small, from, short films to web series, I guess, to, pilots. But this movie, it just came together in such an interesting way. We had elements that were in place before we had a script. And typically in Hollywood, as most people know, you have a script, and then you do the casting or the budget and financing, and then the casting. But we had cast already locked in and a budget already locked in before we had a script. So I knew I was writing for Linda Pearl. I knew I was writing for Patrick Duffy, and we were hoping Max would sign on. But we did not know about the rest of the cast. So it was such a wild, every time somebody new would jump on board, we were like, really? This is amazing. So yeah, it was quite a treat for me to work with those people. Yeah.
And that's what's really cool is that to get fully funded before you even had a script. Like, how does that happen? Especially in this day and age.
I know. Yeah, so we actually, our executive producer, Scott Adler, he's the guy behind it all. He funded a pilot that Ryan and I wrote together a couple of years before. And, we were shopping it around, and Max actually was in that as well. But nothing really took off with it. It's called Repoed. It's an 80s action kind of comedy series, which was really fun. And I think he found that we could do something at a low budget, but really, really well. And so I think he just believed in Ryan. He wanted to help him make his first feature film as a director. And that's kind of how it all came together. And so Ryan came to me, said, hey, we've got some money. We want to shoot in LA. Scott wants to put these people in it. We got to come up with a story. And so that's how I was pitched. The concept was really, elements in place before the story existed, and then build it around those elements. Yeah, it was a challenge. It was good though. Yeah.
I can imagine. What that challenge could be like. Story-wise, where did the story come from? Because it's a very interesting story. Synopsis, pretty much, of daughter's taken, gets into some trouble. Father has to go save her. It's a simple premise, but it's dealt in Hollywood in a time where a lot of people are talking about subjects like this. Please tell us, because I don't want to give too much away, because we got to get you to watch.
Yeah.
Where did it develop? What was the thought process in developing the story?
Yeah, so like I said, we had some elements in place, and one of those elements was that one of the girls that we were looking at, including in the cast, was a singer. And my first question, and I've told her this story, so I say this openly when I talk about it, is can she act? And I was told, we don't know. And I thought, well, I can't risk that she's a terrible actress. I'm going to have to get her kidnapped. So I'm not joking. My idea is centralized around the idea that if she's a singer, we could set it at a nightclub. We could have her, be a performer there. And then she gets taken and goes missing. And so we sort of get her out of the movie for most of it, right? And then does she come back? We don't know or not. But so that was the way that I solved that problem of not knowing if she could act. And then the whole story came from there, and Ryan wanted to do because of the singing element in the jazz club, it was like, ooh, this should be like a noir. And we knew we were going to do action thriller, but then the noir element kind of came in. And yeah, it came together in such an interesting way. And, but that's how the storyline was. And for me, you know, obviously, I grew up as a dancer. I grew up as a performer. And so coming to Hollywood in my 20s and encountering a lot of wild things that I encountered and some Me Too things, you know, I was like, I'm gonna write things. I'm gonna pull from my own story. I'm gonna pull from my story with my father, right, having a troubled relationship with him. And so I just sort of injected a lot of those elements that I knew into this world to sort of build it out and personalize it.
Yeah. And that's the good thing about it, is when you get to bring in elements of what you experienced in your past into a story.
Right. What
Do you
Yeah.
right, exactly.
Yeah.
Do you ever feel like, in your way, it was while writing that and bringing some of those elements out as therapy for you as a writer?
Yeah, I think, you know, it's interesting. I think when I was reflecting back on that, I think I was like, well, if this happened to me, this is how I would have wanted my dad to behave, right? That didn't happen in my life, but maybe I can, you know, write him as the hero that I never got. And so that was definitely an interesting thing. And there were a lot of moving pieces or things when I was watching it, you know, for the final product that moved me to tears, because I was like, whoa, this really did come from a deeply personal space for me. And then in addition to that, the girls at this club and you know, big theme of our movie is what's the price of fame, and watching, you know, what are people willing to do and sacrifice and compromise within themselves to go after their dreams or hold on to the dream. Right.
Right. And that's always the big story, and that's a story that hasn't changed in Hollywood since when it first started in the late 1800s to now, and it's still going on.
That's it, yeah.
Exactly. When we get back after this break, we'll talk about a little bit more about Hollywood grit and as well as your career as well. So we'll talk to you guys, and we'll see you soon right after this few commercial breaks in order to pay the bills. Hey everybody, Mike Sandoval here from MUSE TV. Are you looking to start your own podcast? We were not too long ago, and we decided to come home to Pasadena. Inside Control Collective. You could do so many different things. 3 camera shot, 2 camera shot, 1 camera shot, great audio. Everything you need is right here inside Control Collective Studio. So if you're looking to start your podcast, don't forget to check out controlcollective.com or follow the link in the description. Let them know Muse TV sent you. Welcome back. We're back with Kristina Denton. We're talking about Hollywood grit and more. What was this production like? Because like I had mentioned, like a good friend of mine, Benito Martinez, is in the film, and he plays such a great role. Tyrese Gibson, he's always that cop. He plays a good cop, which is kind of weird because like in Fast and the Furious, you don't see him as that. He's kind of a jokester, but in this film, he's more serious.
He's really a straight man. He's our stoic, you know, straight guy that's just trying to do the right thing. And so it was really different to see him in that role.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Yeah, this was put together very quickly. And it was specifically because of Max's schedule. Max being our star. You know, we wrote this thing probably, I don't even want to admit this, but in under 2 months, the script was completed in terms of just first draft, rewrites. And we presented it to Max, not knowing if he was going to sign on. He did. And we knew if we wanted to get him before he went away to film, I believe it was Lioness, we had to shoot it in February. So I was approached with the idea at the end of October, early November. We were shooting in February. And that is a very quick script to pre-production. So this all came together really quickly. And one of the coolest things there's 2 things that I want to mention that are really interesting about this movie is that we had original music. So our songwriters and singers had because it takes place around a jazz club, we wanted rather than licensing music that exists, we thought, what if Ryan had this great idea? He knew a lot of musicians in his world. Let's create original music for this. So these songwriters had 2.5 weeks to create 10 original songs for the movie, which is insane. I was feeling bad for myself about how quickly we were writing a script, but then they came in and had to do it so quickly. So this all came together wildly fast. And one of the other cool things, Ryan is a combat veteran. And so we have a lot of veterans that worked in front and behind the scenes on this. So great work ethic, willing to put in long hours, understand discipline and the timing of how quickly we had to do this. So we got lucky in the sense that we had the right people on the team to execute in such a short amount of time, but it definitely, you know, certainly looking back, I know Ryan and I've talked about this, it's like, ah, if only we had more time. If only we had a couple more days of shooting. If only, you know, but it was just, I think that's kind of the magic of filmmaking, right? Is that you get what you get in the time you have with the people you have at the time, and whatever comes out is just, it's a miracle any movie's ever finished, right? But when it works, it's like, wow, you know, that was a miracle.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, and that's the one thing that was great to hear about having veterans work behind the scenes and
Yeah.
behind the cameras, because that work ethic really, in such a short amount of time, to have that work ethic and come in, you know they're going to come in, this needs to get done, we're going to get this thing done, and you get to move, because time is money. And that's the one thing a lot of people forget, is that time is money on a set.
Yeah.
And you don't want to waste anybody's time while you're there producing, and to have great people behind the set. No wonder you were able to get this done in such a quick time.
Yeah, and I think, you know, like Benito, like I loved meeting him, and it was like I think we attracted, Ryan and I have been writing together for about 5 years. So we developed this shorthand and this unique way of, I think, creating characters that really attracts good actors. And I think that was happening in the casting process, and that was what surprised us so much, because we were turning down people that are name actors because they just weren't right for the role. And that was something I never thought I would be in the position of for our first movie. But it was, you know, again, because Ryan and I have had this incredible work ethic, his background being a veteran, you know, and we were able to execute it well and attract the right talent because of just how much time we already put in before the movie ever happened, you know.
Right.
We put those years in, I think. You put the reps in, as they say, right? So, yeah.
So where does Hollywood Grit go from now? It premiered in August. You had a big premiere.
We did.
What's next for Hollywood Grit? How do people who are watching this get to see it?
Yeah. So as far as I know, I'm hearing that either by the end of September or October, depending on when people watch this, 2025, it should be either on demand, right? There should be places you can rent it or purchase it, and then I'm sure streaming will follow. So I haven't heard exactly where, but I'm sure all the major platforms will have it in the next few weeks. So we should be seeing it soon. I'm excited. Yeah.
Looking to expand out the story anymore? Maybe possibly.
I don't know what I can say.
It would be a great
I
series.
know.
Let's put it
Well,
that way.
it's so wild that you say that, because we have just started having conversations this week. We've been approached by multiple people to turn it into a series, and center it, you know, around the Black Room, and just kind of see what world we can build there. So the Black Room is the club that they sing in. And yeah, so I'm excited to see where that goes. There's definitely interest, and Ryan and I are already chatting about our ideas for how that would come about. So that's exciting. Yeah.
That's cool. That's really good to hear, because some of these projects, sometimes that was it.
I know.
And they don't go anywhere else.
I know.
And it's great to see that this could live on and have its own life.
Really like the world, and I don't think we've seen too many shows that are centrally focused around, up and coming talent and performers and what they're willing to do, and then the other side of that is how the business side is preying on them because of their dreams, right? So I think it's time. I think it'll be fun to do that noir element again, have really beautiful music. I think there's just a lot we can explore in that world.
Exactly. One thing I do want to bring up is the fact that you also do outside writing. You're an actress as well.
Yeah.
What has that been like to be able to put your hands in different projects? Now, as an actress, do you feel it helped you in your acting career a little bit more, from the writing process to the production process, and now the pitching process, because this is what you're doing right now, pitching the movie. But did it bring up like a different mindset in the way you were going to do things?
Oh, yeah. And I think, I started as an actor, and I think if you are going to really understand how not only just a singular project is put together and functions and operates and is executed, but also the business in general, you have to get behind the scenes. And starting to write, I started writing in support of my acting career, and doing writings helped me understand what my job was as a writer within the story, or as an actor within the story. So you sort of like when you take on a project and you're just approaching it from your character as an actor, it's like you kind of have this narrow focus. But when you write and you start to see this whole world as almost like a puzzle, and you realize as an actor you're one piece of that puzzle, right? So it helps you understand story, breaking down characters. What are the other characters' roles in this? How do we all fit together to help elevate the story as much as possible? And then on the producing side, my goodness, right? It's so helpful to know what every single person's job is on set, because then as the actor, you can show up and make all their jobs easier because a lot of actors think it's all about them. And I always say to people, when you start to produce, you realize as an actor, you are so replaceable. Till the camera is rolling and is recording your face, you are completely replaceable. And you have to remember that. So it's just this incredibly important part of whether you're focusing on acting or focusing on writing, to wear multiple hats on set so that you understand how the whole machine works together. Because you can't do it by yourself. You need multiple people, so you have to respect that they all have a job to play, they all contribute. This is a collaborative art form, and I think it's just invaluable to do behind the scenes if you're an actor. Absolutely.
Exactly. And I think that's one thing a lot of people forget is the fact that this is a collaborative effort. Yeah. And especially as an actor, I've met a lot of up-and-coming actors that just seem like, and have this attitude like, I'm going on set, I do what I got to do, I'm done. I've had some interns who were like that too. But, but it's something to be expected, like sometimes in the set, because some people are like that. Yeah. But I think that's where that type of experience, where you get all aspects, really does help in making you not only a better actor, a better performer, but also know what the other people are going. Yes.
You're a better teammate, right? And I think the people who have longevity understand that, and they understand that you are a member of a team. It is not all about you. It is not all about your job. It's about the whole thing working together cohesively to make one piece of art, Yeah.
Exactly. Is there anything that we could talk about that you have coming up on as in your acting and?
Acting, no, but I do have a book that I am completing that is coming out early this next year. It's really exciting. So that's the biggest project. It's called You Don't Know Dick. Oh.
Well, is it a funny story that could go down?
No. I know. Intriguing. What does this mean? Yeah. It's about
it could go to so many different levels that we could talk about more at the extended version.
Yeah, it's about the year that I spent working at an erectile dysfunction clinic.
Okay.
Yeah, it's one of my day jobs. So it's a memoir. Yeah.
Yeah. That is interesting.
Yeah.
I look forward to seeing what it comes out to and reading what it's going to be. Not seeing, more reading.
Well, hopefully that's the next phase. We're definitely looking to develop it to a show.
Yeah. Well, a show could work very good with something like that.
Yep.
Because it's always the other way around.
I know.
It's never the man's point of view.
This book is about male shame from a female point of view. It's everything I learned about men working in this space. It's actually sort of lives at the intersection between humor and heartbreak, because it really I uncover my daddy issues with my father, what I knew about men before working there, what I learned about men while working there, and how it drastically transformed how I relate to men and how safe I feel with them. And I think it's what my goal would be, is to start a conversation about bridging the gap between toxic masculinity and toxic femininity, and trying to have us all come back together and have a conversation as humans.
Thank you so much, Kristina, for stopping with us. I really appreciate it. And if you want to see your movie, Hollywood Grit, it will be coming out soon on VOD. And that'll be for purchase. So stay tuned for that. Thank you so much for watching Muse by Muse. And don't forget, Muse by Muse Extended is next. It will be available on musetvx.com and YouTube via subscription. So it's a great conversation. It's a little extra from what we talked about just right now. So subscribe. And thank you so much for watching Muse by Muse. We'll see you next time. I'm your host, Mike Sandoval.